Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, what's going on? It's Orton the Bear right here on 88.1 The Burg, your music central. I think the biggest thing that's happened in a long time is that the Last Dance documentary dropped last night, the first 2 hours of the 10-part series. I've been highly anticipating it. I'm glad that they released it early, and I think that there's some really cool things with it. Will, I heard you watched a little bit of it last night. What's your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so I watched the first 2 episodes just like you. It was interesting. You kind of get to see, for me, like, obviously we weren't really alive when Michael Jordan was doing his thing. Like, technically for the last title, I think I was born. I was like 7 months when it happened. So it's kind of cool to actually see what was going on and kind of how he is. And the stories are fun. The stories are fantastic.
I'm really glad that ESPN went with the move to go with an uncensored version on ESPN and then a censored version on ESPN2, because I think it's really cool seeing the uncensored. You get the curse words, you get the traveling cocaine circus that they called the Chicago. You get an insight that nobody else, that no other TV channel would have thought to do. And I thought that was really cool on it. It was really cool to see the Key Arena, because a lot of the NBA has forgotten about the Sonics. And all the Scottie Pippen stuff was awesome to see about.
Yeah, well, it was nice that Jordan recognized Scottie for what he is. I think a lot of people don't recognize him for the great player that he was. Like, he really was the perfect number 2 for Michael, and he was top 5 player that time in the NBA. So I thought that was cool. I really liked the showing of the GM and the Michael and Scottie hatred of Krause, because I didn't know that was a thing. For me, a lot of what I hear is like, oh, Michael did this, Michael did that, Michael was so great. Well, I never really understood that the GM hated Michael, and Michael hated the GM, and Scottie hated the GM, and the GM hated Scottie, and the Scottie basically blew this whole thing up, which was kind of cool because that's something that you don't get. Like, we weren't born at that time. We don't know what was happening. So we actually get to see what was going on. I didn't even know that they were blowing the team up. I just kind of thought that Michael was just done and retired. I didn't realize that everyone kind of knew going into this last year, like, hey, this is it.
No, I love the fact that you get that little insight from Jerry Krause, and he wanted, Phil gone, and then Phil goes and wins 5 more rings with the Lakers after he went 6 with the Bulls, showing, Phil's got a little something to do with it. It also makes me think, that Bulls team, there's 2 great dynasties there. There's the first 3, there was the second 3. People talk about the Seattle Seahawks being a huge dynasty with the Legion of Boom and things like that. They went to back-to-back Super Bowls. That mid-2010s team that stuck together, that core. I think that we're really thankful to have a guy like John Schneider running the show, where guys aren't hating John Schneider. Guys aren't leaving because of what the front office is doing. I think the front office is the most detrimental thing to a franchise. Look at the Seattle Mariners front office for the last 20 years. It's been despicable.
Well, and even there, like, you forget, there was beef a little bit with John Schneider and Pete Carroll from guys like Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett, who ended up getting ousted. And I think what and I could be wrong on this, but when I look at it, it seemed to me like Jerry Krause built this great team. But everyone seemed to recognize Michael, and they seemed to recognize Scottie or Phil, instead of recognizing him, which is what he wanted. And so now he was going to blow it up and prove that he could do this. And I think it's interesting how you can see it in other sports where it has happened. Like the Seahawks, they haven't reached the same success, but that is kind of what they did. And it's just interesting to see how much he played a role in not only building the team, because he made the move to go get Pippen, he made the decisions to draft Michael and to go get Cartwright and Horace Grant, guys who were big in that first 3-year title run. But you also see that he was jealous, and you don't normally think of front office guys as jealous. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like that, it wasn't something that I even knew. I didn't know that here was this little man who had to have everyone recognize him, and then you've got this scene of Michael Jordan looking at Jerry going, hey, Jerry, you going to shoot layups with us? Oh, maybe they'll have to lower the rim so you can actually shoot. Like, I thought that was pretty cool.
No, yeah, the unfiltered banter between the players, between the GM, it was awesome. It's an inside to sports that nobody's ever seen, and I don't know. This documentary series, it's awesome. I needed more of it last night. If all 10 episodes were released on Netflix last night, I probably would have stayed up till 4 a.m. watching all of them because they're that good. I'm hooked.
No, for sure. It's great. And it also gives me a new perspective on Michael. And I know a lot of people are going to do the Michael versus LeBron debate, and that's not what we're going to do here. But when I look at Michael, I now have a greater appreciation for what he accomplished. Not saying that LeBron didn't have to work hard and Michael had to work way harder. That's far from the truth. But with Michael, you have a lot of these different valleys on his road to success, right? You've got a guy who worked really hard, but he got hurt. And so now he's trying to fight to go in and play. And I completely understand that. Or you have a guy who he was so great, but he didn't have a surrounding cast around him. Yeah, he dropped 63 against the Celtics, but he didn't have anyone else there, so they lost. And with him, it just always seems like someone would knock him down, he'd fight back. Someone would knock him down, he'd fight back. And you kind of have that American dream going there where if you just work hard, you will eventually succeed. And I think that's kind of why a lot of the old timers have a hard time when it comes to debating anybody, where they just always say, oh, it's Michael, it's Michael. It's just because he has such a relatable journey to success.
And my last takeaway from it, we got to get back into the music. I think we're overshooting our time by a long shot here. But that Celtics team, yes, they go to the finals. They win that year, but that team doesn't get enough credit. Larry Bird, Danny Ainge, McHale, Parrish. They had another starter in there with Bird. It was the perfect team. Yeah, Bill Walton is underneath the basket. That's a great team. And they go to the finals. They play the Lakers, every year throughout the entire 80s in the finals, besides the year that the Sixers beat them out in 83. But that Celtics team, there needs to be a lot more talk about those teams because that was great basketball. And anybody who wants to knock the talent that Michael was playing against, I'll take you up on that argument any day because those guys, when he had to play the Pistons with Isaiah Thomas and Dumars, he had to play against the Celtics every year. Those Bird teams were incredible. There was crazy talent in the 80s and the 90s in the NBA, and I will not let anyone tell me otherwise.
It's just not – it's not quite the same. It's not bad. I'm not knocking on anybody. I'm not going to say that they're mailmen out there, but there is a difference. It's just you can't compare generations. There's different generations. There's different decades. It's a different style of ball.
It's the most Gen Z comment you could have possibly made. What's up, guys? 88.1 The Burg, your music central. It's Orton the Bear right here, bringing it to you from Newcastle, from Vancouver, all the way back in Ellensburg. And wherever you're finding this, YouTube, social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're there for you at 88.1 The Burg. Now, the NFL draft, they're trying something new this year because we're in a national pandemic. It's something the WNBA did very successfully over the weekend, and that was having a virtual draft. And the WNBA with Sabrina Ionescu going number 1, big-time stuff right there. Now you're going to have to see if Roger Goodell can try and emulate and mimic exactly what the WNBA was able to do with having a successful draft. I know that they've gone through some bugs. They've already had some problems during test runs, but hey, that's what test runs are for. Will, what do you think of this draft format?
I think it's interesting. Just going back to the WNBA, that one seemed to run relatively smoothly. There didn't seem to be a ton of issues. Yeah, Sabrina's my girl, man. She's awesome. Best college basketball player this year, no doubt about it. But anyways, going back to the NFL, I think it's funny how they did the mock draft, which is smart. Get all the bugs out right now. But they had one draft pick, and it failed miserably. So I'm very interested to kind of get the "Can you hear me now?" draft, where you have a bunch of GMs and scouts like, "Can you hear me now? Oh, sorry, John, I can't quite hear you. I think I want and then they get forced to pick someone stupid like Brandon Love.
Do you think that any GMs are going to come out of this and try and blame the technology for maybe a worse draft?
I would. Yeah, dude, if the guy I drafted sucks, heck yeah, I'm blaming the technology. Just that's not what I said. I said I wanted the other guy. I didn't want Joe Burrow. I wanted Chase Young. They just got confused. Completely. If I'm a GM right now, I'm spin zoning this all the way. Like, the technology messed up. I tried to trade up. Like, whoever the fans want, I'm lying to say that's who I wanted if I don't get them.
I feel like there's so many ways that this could work well. I think the problem that they're trying to make money off of it, obviously. They want it to be televised. They want everybody to see it, and they want to make a big show out of it. I think if you take those parts away from it, they can probably have a successful draft behind closed doors where, the media just tweets out whatever the picks are. And then, yeah, we don't get to see them. It's not for our benefit. But then we'd have a successful draft. You put all 32 commissioners on a Zoom call like what we're using for the video platform for our radio shows. I think the 32 GMs would have just a fine time drafting. Goodell would be in the room. They would be taking everything down. That would go just fine. But it's because they're trying to make this way bigger than it, than everything. They're trying to put it on TV. They want nationally televised. They want eyes glued to it. That's the speed bump there that is going to throw everything off.
No, for sure. Well, and I want to correct it. Jordan Love, not Brandon Love. Had him confused. But I do want to clarify. It's the best that they can do, and I'm going to tell you right now, what Goodell sees is a lot of green. There's no other sports. There's nothing live going on unless you're tuning into like Taiwan baseball. Like, I don't think there's anything really going out there. So what's the NFL? They know all the sports craved people are going to want to tune in. Right now, Vegas is preparing for the biggest betting weekend they've ever had because all the degenerate gamblers, they're going to want to try to lose their money. How are they going to do it? This is finally something that they can bet on. So at this point, I think this is almost like the banks. Like, it's too big to fail. You have to come out. You have to have the draft. You have to have it in a way that people can see it. And I don't really think it's going to matter a ton if there's, questions. Just plug in your Ethernet cable. You'll figure it out. They'll be able to get it working. And it's going to do so big on TV. The numbers are going to be gigantic. Everyone's going to tune in and watch it. It can't fail. I just don't see it.
I hope Goodell learns a thing or two from the WNBA draft because I thought it was successful for, the things that they had.
Highest rated thing they've had ever.
One of the things that I took away from it was that the commissioner, every time there was a pick, would just awkwardly hold up a jersey right here, wait for her cue on the camera and say, with the second pick, the Phoenix Mercury have selected, and then say it. And then she would just awkwardly be holding that jersey up for way too long, smiling at the camera. I just hope Goodell cans the jersey and he just comes on the camera. With the first pick, the Cincinnati Bengals have selected Joe Burrow.
I hope he does that, and then he has like his kid come in so he can dap up his kid or something. That's my favorite part is he always comes in. He's always got a different handshake for each player, and you can tell like he's been practicing. Like, he has his like interns who are young and hip and like 20-year-olds that come into his office and they're like, "Oh, what's this meeting for with Mr. Goodell?" And he's like, "All right, I need to practice my dapping up and my handshakes." And I really hope that he has his like son or his wife or whoever he has in his life that he's quarantined with come in and do that with him. I think that would be fantastic.
Let's be real. Nobody loves Goodell enough to be quarantined with him. They're all in the vacation home. He's probably by himself because he is a spiteful, petty old man who is awful. And I hope he gets booed. I hope that somebody plays some fake canned booze the first time that he is on stage. But we got a lot of draft prep to get to. We'll be touching on it all this week as it starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday this weekend. So stick around. 88.1 The Burg, your music central. 88.1 The Burg, your music central. It's and the Bear back at it again. As we just seem to not be able to go away. The people love us. What can we say? So we're here. We're doing the thing. If you want to see our beautiful faces, 88.1 The Burg, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or 881theberg.com. I think we're on YouTube too. I don't know what the YouTube link is, but I'm just going to plug that, search 881theberg YouTube. Something will pop up on the Google machine.
It comes up. You'll find it. Look, if my grandma can figure out and my grandpa can figure it out, you can figure it out. We'll be fine.
Easy peasy. Will, you have been asked by our fearless leader to binge watch things on Netflix and give us fantastic reviews.
Yep, I'm doing it for the people.
Have you started this challenge?
Yeah, well, so I thought I was just reviewing the top. I thought I was taking a top 10 countdown show on Netflix. You know what I'm talking about, like the top 10 in the U.S.?
Yeah.
And I thought I was just reviewing that. But I'm actually doing a movie as well. So I got things out each week. And I messed up because I thought the series was due first, not the movie. So as I was through, I saw that there was a girl in a bikini. So I started watching that TV show. And it makes me feel a lot better about myself. I'm not going to lie.
Wait, what show
Will Ortner's looking pretty good.
What show did you start watching?
It's called Too Hot to Handle. A show where it's a bunch of people who are on Tinder and Grindr and Bumble and whatever dating apps you have. One guy's on Christian Mingle. And they go out and they're supposed to build long-lasting relationships. So the idea is that it's like 10 people, 5 girls, 5 guys, bunch of hots, and they're supposed to not do anything physical other than like hugging with whoever they want to date. And I'm about 7 episodes in right now. It's pretty fantastic.
I'm really curious on why this interests you, because none of that, like dating apps, long-term relationships, and non-physical touching doesn't seem to interest the Will Ortner.
It's not at all true. I make it 6 months when I date people.
Wow. That's like half of the calendar.
I don't talk to them for 3. For real, go ask the exes. No, anyways, it's a good show. Look, I clicked on it because it was hot people, and I got sucked in the great quotes. There's some pretty fantastic. I think at this point, every single contestant on the show has claimed that they were the hottest person on the island. One girl is from Australia. It's a bunch of people from all over the globe, UK, Australia, Ireland. And this one girl, one guy, he's from Australia. The other girl drops the immortal line, "Wow, Australia, I don't even know where that place is."
So you're saying
that little island thing at the bottom of the globe.
This show seems like how I described Tiger King. You will feel dumber after watching it. Is that true?
No, I feel way smarter because they're so dumb. They're just a bunch of dum-dums. They're always confused about what's going on. I'm going to have to go back through because each episode I've watched, I've written a little bit down. And there's some stuff that obviously I can't say. There's some stuff I can. But so basically, if they do anything they're not supposed to, they lose money. And based on what they're doing, a kiss is worth $3,000. Other things are worth whatever they're worth. The low prize is $20,000. So they start off, everyone, if nobody does anything, they get $100,000. If someone kisses someone, they lose that prize money. And it's pretty funny because there's this one guy who's not doing anything at all, and he calls himself the accountant. And every time they lose money, he just complains about what trip he just can't take now. So there's this one couple, Sharon and Rhonda, and they kiss. And he goes, "No, I can't go to Amsterdam."
Well,
just a bunch of complaining. It's fantastic.
Scale 1 to 10. What do you rate this show when you're recommending to a friend?
It's a turn your mind off, think better about yourself kind of show. I would recommend it 7 to 8 out of 10. But going into it, don't go into it like you're about to watch The Bachelor or like 90 Day Fiancé. Go into it like you're about to watch a Will Ferrell comedy, and you'll have a fantastic time. It's just they're so, and I don't mean to pick on them because I have my moments, but they are so dumb that you instantly, your ego just gets inflated. You laugh super hard. It's fantastic. There's some good hashtags in there that I can't say on this show. Thanks, FCC. But when you come across it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
You heard it there from the critic himself, Will Ortner. Will, thank you for that review. Make sure that you're looking out for the articles, the blogs that he's going to be releasing. We'll plug them on social media, and they'll be on 881theberg.com. That's going to wrap it up for the Monday edition of Ort and the Bear. So until tomorrow, thank you for tuning in. It's 881 The Berg, your Music Central.
Love you, Mom.